Hello, everyone. My name is Bilal Brohi. Today we have a very, very special guest for us. It's Mr. Nick Muir. He's one of my all-time heroes. He's one half of Bedrock. He's got a huge input towards everything, how globally dance music has been shaped. He's been producing records. He was a session musician before that. He's been arranging keyboards. He's made the transition from a conventional musician to an electronic musician and then some. And today, I hope we're going to get to learn a little bit from him. Nick.
Hi, Bilal. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a joy to see you. We're old friends by now, eh?
Yes, definitely.
Thanks for having me, mate.
Anytime. It's an absolute pleasure. But Nick, I wanted to pick your brains a little bit because see, I mentioned that Pakistan is still in its infancy stages when it comes to electronic music, and that's something that you've seen already happen. I'm sure several times over in different areas of the world. But at least for Pakistan now, I think there's a lot that we can learn from you. And I wanted to first and foremost, just talk about early days in the UK and how it must have been. When the movement was coming about, when you yourself got into electronic music. How was the ethos at that time? Was there resistance? Was it welcomed? I mean, how was it?
Uh, well, that's a huge subject, of course. Um, I remember it well, and also I can say without exaggeration that it felt like a revolution at the time. You know, it
Um,
had all the hallmarks of
um,
a real revolution, and that's what made it so exciting. I think, really. Uh, I'd been playing piano and organ in bands, making a living as a session musician, uh, playing, regular music in
yeah,
bands, guitars, bass, drums, keyboards, singers. And then, in the space of about, I would say, a year, it felt as if everything was turned on its head
mm,
because of the parties that were starting and a new way of making music with computers, which people really weren't familiar with at all. The idea
right.
of the computer being involved and being used as a sequencer was completely new. And it, uh, from my point of view, being a musician, a regular straight musician, watching that happen was like having a ringside seat watching something being completely turned on its head. And it was very exciting. And I count myself very lucky that I was in that position because I had, like I say, a ringside seat, I felt. Uh, so it was extremely exciting. It was new. And that 3 years in the early 90s, I would say was the most fun. It really was amazing times, Bilal. Yes.
So how do you make that transition for yourself? I'm sure you must have been apprehensive because there's general routes to take when you're a session musician, people to go to, structures in place, and now all of a sudden you're going into the underground culture and going towards promoters and parties and a very live sort of club oriented vibe. How is that for you?
The I can remember actually I was in a studio with one of the bands that I used to play with, and we were cutting some demos. And
No.
the engineer, mate Kenny, he said, "Nick, you're a keyboard player. Why don't you get yourself a computer and a Roland D110? Do you remember those things?"
Yeah.
And he said, "It's a synthesizer, but it can play 8 voices at once." And I was, "What? What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
And the idea that you could play drums, bass, a keyboard line, a lead line, and a pad from one instrument to me was totally new thing. I didn't
Yes.
know anything about that. And so I thought that sounds like a good idea. So I went and bought myself an Atari computer, and like we all had a crack of Cubase at that time.
Mhm.
And I bought the Roland D110. I plugged it up, started to make a sequence, and as soon as I started, I thought, "Ah, this is me. This is what I was made to do." It just really rang a bell
Yeah.
almost straight away. So
Yes.
that was my first foray into making music in the way that we make it now with the
Yeah.
computer, using the computer as a sequencer. I'd had
Yeah.
a sequencer before, which was, which would run just maybe one line. And you remember you used to have to trigger the sequencer from Simpty code on tape.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that was great. But to be able to do that over 16 or 24 tracks was
Yeah.
really brand new thing to me. People didn't know, people didn't know
Yes.
what was going on.
In the studio, you trust the process. You tweak, refine, and push boundaries, always with an ear for what's next. At Block Bytes Capital, we approach crypto investing the same way. No hype, no chaos, just clarity, consistency, and disciplined performance. Built by a team deep in the blockchain scene since 2016, we create smart, low to mid-risk portfolios that let your capital work while you focus on creating. From long-term strategies to monthly payout systems, every product is engineered with precision and backed by active risk management. Legally compliant, transparent, secure, and always aligned with your goals. Culture moves fast. So should your money. Block Bytes Capital. Invest like a builder. Grow like an innovator.
I mean,
Go on.
when DAT88s came out, I mean, at that time, that was supposed to be something that, oh, you can record 8 tracks at once, play them back together, and oh, you can chain them as well. So at that time, that was amazing. Now, I don't think people truly understand what everyone had to sort of go through to get to this point where you can have endless tracks, endless inputs, endless outputs. You can signal chain in real time. You can do parallel compression and playback in real time. You can do
And
side chain.
the editing
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's like
Oh.
now, I mean, basically, the job of being an electronic musician now, a lot of it is about editing. I figure,
Yes. Yes.
but in those days, you remember, you had to get a piece of tape, razor blade,
Yeah.
sellotape,
Yeah.
tape it back together.
Yeah.
It just used to take forever. Now you can edit like one tiny part of one note if that's what you want to do. Micro editing, that
Yeah.
wasn't a thing. Now
Yeah.
it's every day for people who make music like I do.
What about the gig industry? How has that evolved, or is it more or less the same with like artists and management and producers and promoters and clubs and venues and things of that nature?
Um, well, I was very used to going to gigs and seeing bands play. A lot of them were my friends, and I was also in bands and I would go and play. And so I was working around London. I was playing with a band called the Men They Couldn't Hang, which are kind of like a Pogues type outfit. And they were good friends. And, we had a record deal and we were making albums and we did a tour of the world and we were working a lot around London. There was a network of venues in London that I used to, frequent and play, and it was a scene. And
Yeah.
then I started getting involved in electronic music and went to a couple of raves early on, and
Right.
I can remember standing in one of these parties, and it really connected with me the fact that the sound that I was hearing was effectively coming straight from another guy's
Yeah.
mind. Okay, there was no kind of no halfway house. There was no medium really. It was like, rather than having a bunch of people standing on stage playing the music live, then you had, the records, which were electronic pulses coming straight direct through a sound system. And I loved that idea. Absolutely loved the idea that you were getting something that was directly from somebody else's mind coming directly out of a big sound system and connecting with the crowd. Now, a lot of people at that time who were involved in the area that I was, which is as a player, they were very against it. They thought, oh well, it's a bit like the thing with AI now.
Yeah.
That kind of
Yes.
thing that's going on.
Yes.
It's not human. It's
Yeah.
like there's no emotion, there's no feeling to it, but it didn't bother me because I loved the funk of it. I love the machine kind of sequence nature of it. And I love the fact that it was coming direct through the sound system to you. I mean, playing records loud through a big sound system is such a brilliant idea.
That's it. That's it. Absolutely. I mean, I look forward to there's certain songs that I'll hear, and you can hear them at home on a hi-fi system or on your monitors, and you can hear them on your headphones. But really, when you hear them on a big PA, is when you feel, what that tune is all about.
You really get it. And
Yes.
I think that fact, like you say, you can listen to it at home in your car, but then you go out and then you hear it as it should be heard. That's another level. And I think that's where one of the ideas of the underground came from, is that you can only really hear this music properly if you go out and experience it in situ,
Yeah.
And
I love
the idea that it has two levels, that you can
Yes.
listen to it at home, you can listen to it in the car at normal volume, then you go out and you hear it on a sound system and you hear something else.
Yes.
Love that idea.
Yes, definitely. 100%. Could not agree with you more.